say, trust what they're going to do, and I get sucked into it.
And sometimes, I mean, I think for both of us, if you're in business long enough, somebody's going to have their own issues, and because of that, you're going to end up being taken advantage of, right? But for me, I'm grateful for those experiences because I got stronger. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm just not. You can't knock me over with a little punch. It's going to have to be a heck of a punch, and I won't be knocked over very long. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, I'm a big fan of defining moments, right? These moments in life, like the moment when Mike showed you leverage. Mike Nelson showed you leverage. You went, oh, okay. Or the moment when these guys in the break room, you know, pissed you off. Was there, you know, give me a defining moment, you know, one of those moments that really had an impact, and describe it for me.
Well, definitely one of the moments was when I was on stage and revealed my dyslexia and turned that embarrassment into empowerment, right? How it empowered other people. And I mean, it was a big turning point for me. I think a aha moment for me was the introduction to personal development. I mean, I did it every day.
How were you introduced?
Well, you know, was introduced through network marketing, right? I mean, because it's.
But like who or what?
My first ever was Tony Robbins. You know, 30 Days to Unleash Your Power. Yeah. And I remember listening to tape 2, and it said, "Congratulations, you've just made it further than 90% of the people." You know.
And you went, yeah, all right.
You know, $179 or $169 for that. I still have that set of tapes in my archives. You know, and then I got introduced to. Next was Zig Ziglar. And from Zig Ziglar, the flea training story was a profound, you know, thought for me. Jim Rohn became my absolute mentor and idol. I mean, I met the man twice. You know, he wouldn't know me, obviously. Yeah, I was just, you know, somebody, can I get your picture? Yeah. But I mean, his teachings, I live them. I mean, his teachings and philosophy out of anybody else in my life has had more influence on me.
Yeah. Any other defining moments that stick out?
I think
give me one for the last 5 years.
Well, I mean, a defining moment. I was faced with a decision 3 years ago to stay or to go, right? And I no question made the right decision because. I mean, when
he's saying that, for those listening, there are times, I mean, if you're around the profession long enough, sometimes companies let you down. Sometimes companies go out of business or they're managed poorly. Sometimes there's no choice but to make a change. And some people are a little too sensitive and they end up making a change every 15 seconds. And they can never develop any roots. But so you were faced with that scenario, and you had to make a decision.
I mean, things really have to be bad for me to make a move. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I've had to do that a couple times in my life, 3. But there was a point 3.5 years ago where I was faced with that decision of go or stay, and I made the decision to dig in, and because I think one of the most important elements for success.
What caused you to say to dig in?
I guess I just bought into, because you have to believe, right? I mean, I can't do it without believing. I mean, there's times where you may question it, right? And you wonder, and man, are we going to get this figured out? But ultimately, at my core, I have to believe in the future. I have to believe that I can make it work. Yeah. And when that is truly gone, then you're sunk. Yeah. Right? It's time for you to move on. Right?
So you sold yourself one more time.
And I sold myself in and went all in, and believed in the future, and believed in the mission, believed in what we were doing regardless of the challenges. And when you're a leader, everyone picks up if your head ain't in the game, you're not going to build a business.
They know, yeah.
Yeah, they know. And so I'd made that commitment and went all in, and turned out to be my best years ever.
Yeah. How great is that?
Yeah.
You a big reader? Or do you audiobooks?
I'm a big listener.
Audiobooks.
Audios and videos, primarily audios. I listen to a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any of those like audiobooks that had a big impact on you?
Several. I mean, and we know the
classics,
the classics to Jim Rowan's and the Napoleon Hills and all that. But one that I really enjoyed recently was, what's his name? It's called The Traveler's Gift. Andy Andrews, I think the name. Mm-hmm. And really some profound lessons.
The Traveler's Gift.
The Traveler's Gift.
By Andrews.
And Andy Andrews, I think the author.
Okay. Yeah. And why was that great?
Just there were some profound lessons in there. Okay. One, he talked about one of the, and it was this guy who had gotten fired from his job. One that he really, stuck with to that next level and ended up getting let go. And then he ended up being upset and getting in an accident. And he's kind of like in this, traveling back in time to these lessons. And one of the lessons was seek wisdom, right? Seek wisdom. And then another of the lessons was, what you learn from being around other people. And the traveler asked him, he says, do you have a daughter? And he says, yeah, I have a daughter, Jenny. And do you ever worry about, who your daughter hangs out with? Oh yeah. When she's hanging out with the wrong people, we see it in her attitude. And he said, when do you think that changes? Is it at 16? Is it at 21? It's your whole life.
Never. Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you hang around with people that swear, you'll find yourself swearing, right? Or, so the people we hang around with make a big difference on, our life. And so there's like 7 lessons in this book that were, it just heard it a different way, but it really impacted me.
Love it. Talk to me about your book.
Right or Almost Right?
Yeah, Right or Almost Right. John Haremaz. Everybody should go pick it up.
Yeah, well, I really think it's a great book. One of my challenges is promotion, but it's a very, very basic.
What would people learn from it?
We grew up in the same school.
Yep.
I mean, it's taking everything we do on a daily basis, because we know all these people out there working, they're struggling. And so the question is, are they doing it right or almost right? It's helping you make that little subtlety on maybe how you tell your story, how you conduct your 3-way phone call, all of the fundamental activities that we do in our business, and helping you refine it just a little bit that can make a major difference.
That's huge. And easy read?
Easy read.
As a guy who struggles with dyslexia, how'd you write a book?
Well, this is a funny story too. I was, with my second company, and I flew to Toronto to do an event. And this was before I had revealed the dyslexia thing. And after the event, the guy, his name's Peter Lees. He's my assistant today. He's been with me for 22 years. And we're at the airport, and he's, heard my story, rags to riches kind of, and he says, you should write a book. And I says, Peter, I can't even read a book, and I told him about my secret, my dyslexia. And he's like, oh my God, this is even going to be better. So we went through a series of interviews, and he took it all down, and then we organized it in a book. It was a long project because of the dyslexia and going back and forth, but it was inspired by him saying, you should write a book. I never in my wildest dreams thought about doing it.
Well, good for you.
And so very proud of it. It's a great read.
Yeah, I love that. Everybody should get it. Right or Almost Right. As we kind of wrap up, first of all, I just want to thank you for your contribution to the profession, for being an ambassador, for being that consistent leader, for showing people how the right way of doing things, for inspiring so many people. But as we kind of wrap up, what piece of advice would you have for somebody who wants the same success that you've had or something towards that? And they're, maybe they're looking at this for the first time, or maybe they've been involved and they're stuck, or maybe they can't figure out how to get to the next level. What advice do you have for them? Well,
I think, number one is you got to have faith, right? You got to have faith. You have to have belief that it's going to happen. And keep moving forward. Don't give up. That story in W. Clement Stone, don't stop 3 feet short of gold. I mean, your biggest breakthrough is right on the other side of that adversity. And too many people quit right before it could happen, is just have the faith and keep pushing forward. Somebody asked me, actually it was today in a Zoom I did this morning, they says, what would you say to build big and fast? And I said, you need to do it every day, everything, every day long, and you need to be, I heard, Holton Bugg said this, and it really meant, he said, balance equals broke. I mean, if you really want to do something great, you're going to have to live out of balance. I mean, don't think you have to do the extra.
Yeah, I love that. John Haremaz, thanks for sharing your ideas with us, your stories with us, being vulnerable with us.
Yeah, it's been great.
All of it's great. Ladies and gentlemen, go pick up that book. Continue to live your dreams. Network marketing is not perfect, but it is better. Go build something. See you next time. Take care.